He does it much better than I do.
Hey, my name's Adam. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to introduce a new car to the collection. And no, before you ask, unfortunately, it's not the Radical. I really wish it were. That one's actually a friend of mine's. We'll talk more about that another time. So we've just been out doing our first session. It's got 103.7, so hopefully that comes up. Apparently TTU track record is a 103.5, so we're going to shoot for that. But if we can get down to the 101s, that's the overall track record. Don't know if we'll get there, but that's not bad for the first session out. Haven't driven this track in what? 2 years? 3 years? 18, yeah, okay. I'll take it for now. And don't worry, there's still going to be some more LS-swapped RX-8 content in the future. But for now, I've completed the series, the build series that is. So if you didn't catch that, there's a playlist with all of the videos that kind of guide you through what is an LS-swapped RX-8, all the way through to the 10 steps to actually do it yourself. It's kind of a summary, but it's pretty cool and had a little bit of fun along the way. Noise. Oh, it's wet. So this is it. It's a Volkswagen MK6 GTi, otherwise in the UK known as the Golf GTI. For some reason in the US we dropped the Golf. So this is a 2012 and it has 152,000 miles on the clock. It's fantastic and amazingly clean. The previous owner actually had the car from 30,000 miles. When I bought the car it came with a wad of paperwork. That included all the DSG services, yes unfortunately it's not a manual, all the way through to intake being replaced, you name it, it was done. All of the services were either done by dealers or other garages. So when I got the car, it was in tip-top shape. The car is in great condition, and we're going to walk around and show you every aspect. This is actually the second turbo car I've owned. The first one was a Subaru Wrx Sti. Now I've wanted one of these cars ever since I was young. I remember walking to my junior school and seeing a Mark II GTI parked up the hill just around the corner from the house. It was fantastic. It had that angular shape and that Gti badge was just something aspirational. Years later, I remember the Mark III whizzing past me as I sat waiting for the bus to go to senior school. It was a little bit more rounded than the Mark II, but again, just as edgy. That still retained sort of that aggressive look, but it just refined it a little bit more. Had a little bit more curves to it, but still had that GTI essence. I watched the GTI develop through the Mark IV and then later onto the Mark V. The Mark V went a little bit soft for me. It had those big headlights, which just, I don't know, took a little bit away from the car. So when the Mark VI came along, for me, it kind of went back to the Mark II, Mark III era. A little bit more aggressive and just had that sporty feeling. Now don't get me wrong, back in the day, this car would have been known as a boy racer car. You'd sure just jump in the driver's seat, plant your right foot, wheel spin away from the line, giggling the whole way. Not that I would ever do anything like that. There must be a bunch of other people that think the same about this car, because in 2009, the MK6 Golf actually won World Car of the Year. I had no idea that was even a thing. The cars it was up against include an Audi A4, a Jaguar XF, and a Nissan GTR. Can you believe it? The Golf continued to do well because in 2013, Mark VII actually won World Car of the Year again. That time it was up against things like the Mercedes A-Class, the BRZ FRS, some pretty tough contenders. Other accolades to mention then is that this car has won the European Car of the Year twice. It's one of only 3 cars ever to do that. And when I say this car, I mean the Golf. So let's take a closer look. So this is the carbon steel grey metallic with the Detroit 18-inch wheels. And I really like that look. That combination for me in this car works really well. Next thing then, take a look at the headlights. So these basically, sometimes they say you can polish these out. These have gone. They're just way too far. You can actually see, hopefully, in the video, basically the cracks and the fatigue, which has gone all the way through. So there's no way this is polishing out. There's a few stone chips. Hopefully you can see that. And then the red stripe, that's a tip of the hat to the old GTI, the original GTI. It's got fog lights, halogen bulbs. I mean, it's just, you know, for the year and again for the model and how much they cost, but it's just fantastic. So 4-door, very convenient, and it's amazing how much you can fit in there. But all the way around, I mean, look how clean it is. So let's take a look at the interior. So this is the convenience with sunroof package. And with that, you get things like, you know, full electric seats. I say full, you've got a manual handle here to adjust the height of the seat. And then there's a manual handle for the lumbar support. But it's got the plaid interior, again, tip of the hat to the original GTI. Hopefully this comes out. So you've got a leather steering wheel. Unfortunately, I can't zoom out anymore. But that's got the red stitching. Full touchscreen display. So you've got the FM, AM, Bluetooth. I mean, for the year, the Bluetooth actually works exceedingly well, much better than some of my other cars, which is surprising. And then, of course, a sunroof, which is fantastic in the sun. And really convenient to use. So I do like that, that type of control. So the DSG then, so direct shift gearbox. And effectively what it is almost like there's two gearboxes in there. There's one for the odd gears, one for the even gears. And so you've got two clutches, and the ECU has to kind of work out what you're doing, whether or not you're accelerating, whether or not you're braking, and based on that, get the next gear ready. So that's really what that's all about. But again, you see the red stitching here and here. What else have we got? Oh, multifunction steering wheel controls, super convenient. Cruise control. It's got AC as standard. I think that this was the first year for AC as standard. And it's not climate control, it is just basic AC, but it all works and it works great. Now here was something that was surprising. In the glove box, when I bought the car, I actually discovered this manual. And I was amazed. I'm like, APR tuned? It can't be. Now, for some reason, at some point in the life, it looks like VW got hold of this and actually removed this, but I called up APR and sure enough, this is licensed. So the VIN for the car is licensed. And so I worked with a local company and they were able to get the APR tune back in there. So you can see there it's got the stock tune, it's got the 91, the 93 and the Valet. And then there's the owner that at some point had it tuned. But yeah, I went through and tried to get it all working, obviously couldn't, so I had to get it re-enabled. But what I did do afterwards was there is a super convenient dongle you can buy, OBD2 dongle, which allows you to do everything from the app, which is really, really cool. And so I basically can see what tune is enabled. I can change the tune and yeah, it just works really, really well. So daytime running lights, not automatic. I actually have killed the battery already. So I had to get a new battery for that, but that taught me a lesson. But I will have another video, hopefully sometime soon, that will show you how to disable that using the VAGCOM device. What else have we got? Oh, nice hidden feature here. So that's basically how you open the boot. Parcel shelf, obviously for safety and security. So this here actually was for the first aid kit originally, but for anyone that owns a Mark 6 Golf, you know that it burns oil, and conveniently a quart of oil will fit in there very well. So this has got the cargo protection heavy duty mats, and then under there somehow it comes up, there is a full-size spare. 60-40 split on the seats. You'll be amazed at what you can fit in here. Little hatchback, fantastic. I fit so much in here already. I think there were 3 widescreen monitors in here at one point. Now the most interesting bit, let's have a look under the bonnet. What powers this baby? And there it is, a 2-litre TSI turbocharged engine. Here it produces around 207 horsepower and 207 foot-pound of torque. So we'll put that to the test at some point, and obviously that's at the crank and not at the wheels. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much fun. But all the engine covers are there, which shows that at least someone looked after it when they were doing maintenance. It recently had a water pump change, so that's where the coolant looks fairly fresh. I've already done the timing belt, So that was one of the things that using OBD11, there's another little dongle you can get. You can actually go in there and work out what adjustments are being made for the stretch in the timing, and I say belt, it's a chain, stretch in the chain. So it was on the border, I didn't have to do it, but this year in particular had problems with the tensioner, and so I went in there, made sure that the tensioner was good, and replaced the chain, replaced the tensioner as well, and so that's already been done. What else have I done? Oh, Pcv valve. So under here, under this cover, which should come off fairly easily, you can basically see the Pcv valve. I've already replaced that, as well as the coils, spark plugs, and yeah, that's about it. So I've done that already, had a misfire, and that's the reason for doing it. So new battery, coils, plugs, Pcv valve, timing chain, tensioner. I think that's pretty much it. And of course, the famous GTI badge. Again, back in the day, that was very aspirational to be able to own a vehicle with that. It's all about performance then. So this standard does 0 to 60 in about 6.9 seconds. So we're going to put that to the test at some point, but that's not too bad, again, especially for the year and what the car does. Is it anything like the V8? So obviously the RX-8 there with the LS3? No. The torque is obviously very much more in the LS3, but for a small hatchback, lightweight, agile, so the wheelbase is obviously a lot shorter than something like the RX-8, and that makes it feel much more agile and nimble. And then obviously a lighter car and just the convenience of having the four-door, it's just a great platform. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet, as well as the performance and just being fun to drive, it's actually very economical, or it can be when you're not too heavy-footed. So I log all my fuel and I can show you the results, but this has got to almost 29 miles per gallon. Now that's US gallons, which is 3.78 litres. If you convert that across to the UK gallon, that is almost 34 miles per gallon, which is great for a small car like this. So what's the plan? So the plan with this car is basically to get everything mechanically sound. So we've already done the timing chain, we've already done some basic sort of spark plugs, coils. So the next step is to then go and get it on the dyno once we've checked everything else out. So things like bushings and, you know, all that other good stuff. On the dyno then, we'll get a baseline of where it's at now. Also, using the APR tunes, we can see the difference that each different level of tune makes. So that's the stock, that's the 91, that's the 93. From there, we're going to have a little bit of fun and do some minor modifications. So we're not going to go too crazy. It is front wheel drive, which means putting down that power is always a problem. And you have some risk if you try and do any launches. But we really want to see what we can do with it and just have a little bit of fun. It's not the ideal weather for it, but we're going to go for a little drive. Can't have a video without doing a drive, can we? Oh, that's what I meant to show you. Dongle. Said about the dongle. There it is. And then there's an app for that. So you fire up APR, and then you've got to connect with the Bluetooth every time. Find the one that says APR mobile. That's too much glare. Anyway, click on that. With the dongle plugged in, and now I've already been paired previously, it connects. And then the status up in that corner should go from yellow to green, which it did. And then slowly down here it will start populating what mode it's in and if there's any faults. There's no faults. Now, it's currently in 91 octane, so I know there's 93 in there because I filled up at least twice with 93. So you just literally click on that and then you get a selection of which mode you want. So I'm going to select 93. And then it will say 93 octane, hopefully. All right, there we go. That was easy, wasn't it? Now I can begin. Don't worry, the car and engine is already warm. We've been doing a few chores on the way home, dropping oil and stuff like that. And whilst it's not a manual, I can at least drive it in manual mode, which is way more fun. with front wheel drive cars. Now, probably technique as well, but accelerating, obviously unloading the front tyres. And like a rear wheel drive car, when you accelerate, you load the rear tyres to help with the grip. So in this, obviously the boost just kicks in at low speeds and say goodbye to any traction. So in second gear then there was wheel spin. Third gear there was a little bit. Definitely traction control and stuff kicking in there. So the interior of this is actually fairly quiet. It's not as quiet as some cars like the Audi or the BMW. They for sure are quiet, but compared to something like the Wrx 8, definitely think it's more quiet, or quieter. I definitely think it's quieter. But this is actually fairly smooth. I mean, there's a few wobbles, like I know the brakes, you know, the discs probably need doing. I can feel a bit of run out in them. Nothing too bad. Can't even pull away in second at the moment. It's just the condition of the road, the tyres can't get warm. You know, we're at 30 degrees. These are all season tyres, but they can't work miracles. So this is it, just nice cruise at 60. I can still talk to you. No doubt you can hear me, I hope. Unless the microphone's not working, in which case it'll be a pointless exercise. Out in the country, see? I might actually turn it down a notch. We are in stock. Significantly different. There's going to be no wheel spin on this. That's incredible, the difference. Yeah, nothing. Traction control is off. No wheel spin, not even a hint of it. Wow. And then 93, I was just lighting up the tyres constantly. So that just tells me stock mode is good for winter. Imagine what it's like with a bigger turbo. I can't. So we're about to turn back down the side road, so I'll leave it in stock and then throw 91 on in a second. Second gear. Try 91. So for some reason I have to exit the app and then re-enter the app to be able to change the mode again. Not sure why. So when you do it, you get the EPC indicator flashes on the dashboard, so you know it's done. 91. Right. See what this one's like. So I'm going to try second gear again. Straight away. So if that is not proof enough of how much of a difference the APR tune makes, I think it's something really silly in how much additional torque it makes. And obviously torque, when it comes to acceleration and breaking free the wheels, is really what's going to help with that. Was it Jeremy Clarkson would say, all the talks. He does it much better than I do. Now we're back to traffic. We're back in auto mode. That's the nice thing about the DSG. When you don't want to have to work the gears, not that Tiptronic is working the gears very hard. So I love a manual, don't get me wrong, I really do. And I wish I was much better at it. I use a manual a lot on the track, and it's okay, I can rev match, I can do all those things, but I'm not like Jesse is. Jesse is an absolute machine and master when it comes to shifting a manual on the track. In fact, I'll link one of his videos down below because he teaches you how to shift a dog box. And then also there's another video where he's either doing the qualifying lap, or it's maybe his fastest lap of the race, I can't remember. It might be the qualifying lap for the runoffs this year. And he's got a camera on his feet, he's got a camera in the car. I mean, it's just amazing to watch his skill. Very impressive. So having said all that, love a manual, but driving over here, especially when you do long journeys like we have, therethere's something about an automatic which is just convenient. I know, no excuse. And I thought I'd never say that. So there you go. Hopefully the induction roar at least came across. Hopefully you could hear the wheel spin. But yeah, the APR tune for sure makes a ton of difference. Now this doesn't have the transmission tune on it, the TCM, is it? TCM tune? Apparently that helps with a couple of issues. Now I haven't seen, or I don't know of any issues, perhaps it's to do with what we've just experienced, I don't know. But I might look into that at some point. If you do know, comment down below. So I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And of course, like, share and subscribe.